I've struggled in my life, and we've touched on this a little bit already in the podcast about worth, what worth is, what value is, the difference between worth and value, and the things because we put the value to things in our lives, we put worth on things, and we're taught from a young age what you're supposed to be worth as. We're taught that if you don't work for something and somebody gives it to you, that you didn't earn it because that's what we're built and programmed to think. So I have this fluctuation between balancing between accepting people's help whenever I need to ask for help, whether it be monetarily or um, with things I'm dealing with in my life. I recently had a dog pass away. It's been really difficult. So just life things or whatever I'm asking people for help, it's hard for me to ask it because I don't feel like I'm worth it. But at the same time, the yin and yang of it is that I have to let people help because it's going to allow me to grow and it's going to allow them to have their kindness like given to me. I balance myself in between that space of, you have to admit that you're human and you need help. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how strong you are, anything in between. There's always going to be a moment where you're going to need somebody else's help. But that being said, you're not completely helpless. You can still do things yourself. There's very yin and yang, and I try to live in the balance of that, but very middle of that section. It's
And
very
what a
difficult, and something I've been
gift!
struggling with my life. Oh
What a
yeah.
gift you could give to somebody to accept their help.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's very hard whenever you're feeling down and out and hopeless though. I talked about how whenever my dog passed away last week, I went and passed out flowers. It was a very difficult thing to do. I wanted to be mad. I wanted to hate and hurt and
Love it.
blame and everything, but instead I chose to be giving. And it was very difficult to do, but it reaped a lot of rewards because it showed me a lot of the humanity and we how all have in each other, that we're all just viewing reality through our own eyes, but we're still all one. It's a very unique feeling whenever people can look at you and go, wow, I can know what that pain is like. True empathy is very impossible to try to reach, I think.
Mhm.
But when you experience something that somebody else has experienced, you can get pretty close. You're like, wow, I can feel your pain. I had a guy come up and hug me, ask me what I was doing, and I explained to him, and he just gave me a hug. I was like, wow, that really made my night, dude. Where I could have just stayed and wallowed in that grief and wallowed in that pain and that hurt and had these negative thoughts. I changed it into the power of positivity, and the rewards I reaped were amazing. Yeah, you have to try it. It's
That
very
was a
difficult to
beautiful,
do,
beautiful
but you
gesture,
have to
man.
chill.
It
Yeah,
brought
it's
tears to my
difficult.
eyes hearing Pops talk
Yeah,
about it. And remember also
100%,
you told me about it too, and I was like, wow, that was so beautiful. I love that you did that.
100%. It's not easy to do when you're hurting, but it's the fourth agreement. That's why I'm really big on the fourth agreement. Your best isn't always going to be your best. My laundry didn't get done that day, I promise you. It's a tough day, but I went out and I helped and I did what I needed to do. Be kind instead of hating and having hurt and grief and blaming and all the things you want to do when you go through grief. It's so many feelings that I was feeling all at once. I felt happiness for the life of my dog. I loved her and I had so much time with her, but I was so mad. I'm like, why does it have to be like this? It's because we're programmed again from the time we're young to think that, this isn't the real world, or this is the real world, rather. I guess I would say, that this is the real world, but it's not. You open up and you realize that going through a thing like grief can be one of the biggest changing moments of your life and really push you to be who you need to be. Yeah.
I agree wholeheartedly. I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for that grief that I was experiencing when I was experiencing it, and then the healing that I received when I received it from that. You understanding that contrast in your life is life changing, and I don't think I'll ever be that sad again. But I know I'm not done crying. I'm still gonna be shedding tears over Albert, and
The
it
greatest
never goes
cost of
away.
love is grief. It
Yeah.
really is. I mean, when you feel grief, it just means you loved. I had to talk about that with Pops today about how, when you feel, he talked about this on his show about how you feel shame. It's really a good thing to feel shame because it's the thing that pushes you forward. Only good people feel shame. And I know it's a crappy feeling, but it's the same thing with grief. Grief is a really crappy feeling, but it just means you cared. And it's a beautiful way to look at it.
I
I'm
think
feeling this hurt because it's the love that I gave.
both emotions need balance. Too much or too
Yes.
little is a bad thing.
It's exactly my point that I'm trying to make. I'm trying to live in between that space of being happy and feeling the grief.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do because I want to be mad. I want to hurt, but I don't really want to. I don't want that. It's just how I feel. I want to react. So I have to balance it. It's very difficult, man. I just do my best. I'm no perfect human being. I do not claim to be a fully enlightened specimen on earth. I'm just a regular guy. I'm just with you guys. We're all one. But I know that feeling these things is what's going to help me out. And that's just my personal preference, and that's my perspective.
Totally.
And I suggest that anybody who is feeling pain, the hardest thing you can do is reach out and say something. Pops talked about that today, as according to Shane. Being truthful and just being honest is the first step. And that really is with grief, with pain, with any kind of thing in your life that's going wrong. You just got to speak about it. And somebody's going to come up to you and say you're complaining, but that's on them. That's them taking it personally. It's not on you.
Yeah.
100%.
On the other end of that spectrum, there's also an immense amount of gratitude when you have someone, a channel like Pops, that is spreading ripples. You have that ripple, and what do you got to do with it? You gotta pass it on. You know what I mean? And keep that ripple going. So having spoken with other T members, and then seeing that they're working on exciting projects as well, is it's like, wow, it's really awesome.
Beautiful.
Because you could just take the message at T and just absorb it, but at some point you're going to be full of it, and you're going to have, for me, you're going to have to express it, and share that positivity. And I think that's what we're all experiencing lately is the growth in trying to do our best. If you're getting all this good news and these good feelings and everything, then you're not passing them on, you're not doing anything with them. You're not, I don't think you're really doing your best, because you could be being the light for someone that needs it. And I think Pops inspires all of us to do that every day.